What's good, Chaotic Nation? It is your boy Chaos here, and we are back with the final part of making a draft league, tips and tricks. And today, I'm talking about making your own draft league, building your own rules, building your own tiers, customizing your draft league to make it work for whatever situation you want to play in, whether that be Showdown, if that wants to be on Wi-Fi battles, whatever you guys want to do, it is here for you. We're going to create a final video for this tips and tricks just to get you guys to create your own draft leagues if you want to. If you want help with creating draft leagues beyond this video, feel free to hit me up afterwards on Discord or Twitter, and I will definitely give you every help I can. But first and foremost, we gotta go back to creating rules. So I did do a rules video. I did go through the rules of last season. However, I do have this season's rules here, and it's very important that you have all these things laid out. So first and foremost, you gotta have the battling and the draft rules. That is how your league's gonna be played. You need to set up when the battles are going to be done. You need to make sure you have registration, have the things you need for the battle. So if you're one of the people like me who uses thumbnails for the video, it's always nice to have a team color, a team name, and a team logo, just so you have something to make a thumbnail with for a video later on. It also helps out when you have to make statistical sheets, because those have to be a part of every draft league. You need to have a statistical sheet giving you all the stats that you have, whether kills, deaths. We've gone over that already. You guys have seen that in the past, but you need to have one of those for this league. You also need to lay out where the leagues can be played. So of course I have right here, this league is going to be played in Smogon's OU battle tier, including the OU movesets and clauses, just so everything is fair and we don't have to worry about making our own clauses and playing anything goes. And we don't have to manage those a little bit more. We get to play with just OU's formula, and that makes it a lot easier. So that automatically bans any Pokemon that are in Ubers or above, which makes the tierings a lot easier to come across when you do that. And we will be explaining tierings a little bit later on in this. I explain what draft league is here in the fifth thing on the rules, explaining what it is, what draft league means, how you're supposed to do it. If the champion gets to retain the first overall pick as a perk for winning, if that is something. I also have the layout of what you're going to be doing. 12 members with one Z Crystal user. That's one type with one Z Crystal that is that type. Z Crystals are very tricky to play in Draft League. Sometimes leagues will let you have 2 Z move users that are the only Pokemon on your team that can use Z moves, but they're allowed to use any Z moves they want. Z moves can be offensive, it can be like setup Z moves like Z Rain Dance or Z Splash. But for my league, I decided one type of Z move can be used on any Pokemon, and it cannot be an exclusive Z move, and it cannot be a stat boosting Z move. It just has to be a regular like Z move. So for instance, you can use Rock Slide as a Z move and get Continental Crush, like something like that. Not so you have stat boosting ones, like you can't use Klangori's Soul Blaze and get an Omni boost with Como. No, it does not work. You have the 12 custom, you explain the tier system as very clearly in the rules. 12 Pokemon through the 5 custom tiers, and there is a tiers sheet that we're going to go over after we're done with the rules here. We talk about the draft. It's very important to set up when the draft is going to be in the rules, letting people know, hey, this draft is going to be this day, this time, make sure you have it open. Or, as I have found to work a lot better, drafting over the period of like a month. So you start like the first day of the month, and the first person up to go who draft gets a whole day to pick. So they start, like, let's say it starts at midnight. They go from midnight to midnight the next day. They have that entire 24-hour period to make their selection. And as soon as they make that selection, they have to @the next person in the Discord. We usually do this in Discord. They have to @the next person, and as soon as the @ is whatever the timestamp the @ is at, that's when they have to go. So if I had the first pick and I made my choice by 10 p.m. and someone was after me, the person after me would have to make their pick within 24 hours from that 10 p.m. mark. So they have a whole day to the next 10 p.m. And it makes it a lot easier there. You also can choose to snake your draft or just to keep rotating the draft. So going either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or going 1, 2, 3. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, it could go over and over and over and just keep looping itself. Or you could do a snake draft where you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it makes more sense for me to go the snake way. I like it a little bit better because it gives different people an opportunity. The people in the middle actually have some of the better spots because they get to play in the middle here, and they pretty much had the same pick regardless of what round we're on or who actually gets the first or last pick. Despite the order, they will have pretty much the same pick. The first and the last person also have perks, meaning they get to do wheel picks. And what a wheel pick means is you get 2 picks in a row, basically. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 8 starts over the next turn. So 8 gets 2 picks in a row, and then they come back. And the good part about that is the 24-hour thing is still in effect. So if you know what you want for the first pick, you can go ahead and take that and set yourself up for another 24 hours to make your next pick. So it's something that I've used in the past, but it can be very useful for other people. Next, it's nice to talk about prohibitions, other things you have to make sure you know about in the Draft League. This actually could be added to the Battling Draft League rules, but I like to separate it just so people know what's going on. Timers cannot be used. Timers can be a problem in some matches. It's nice to be respectful of timers, as I've mentioned in previous videos. It's nice to be playing as fast as you can, but it's also nice for people to not feel like they have to make a play in 5 seconds. So take time to make smart, wise plays, but also don't take 25 years to make your pick. Just like 2 minutes probably is probably way too long for a move selection. A minute probably is about a good time. So the timers can be used, but the thing about the timers in Smogon and Showdown, they pressure you to make a pick, and they don't reset every time. So it's a 2-minute timer. Let's say you use a minute the first time, that starts back over a minute again when you start taking forever. So you don't get to refresh it too. If it did do that, I probably would use timers, but other than that, no. Stat boosting, as I mentioned, stat boosting Z moves are not a thing. And my fun thing that I like to run in my tier as megas are very interesting to play as. You can either you have to Mega Evolve first turn that you bring your Mega in, or you can Mega Evolve any point in time. I like that you can Mega Evolve at any point in time. I think a lot of Pokemon have the ability to do different things as their Mega form and as their regular form. So having the ability to play as either one really gives you an option there. And as such, since this is a rule in my Draft League, if you choose a Mega Pokemon, let's say you pick Mega Alakazam, Alakazam goes off the table for everybody else. So you basically get Alakazam and Mega Alakazam, and you can choose whether or not you want to use the Mega Stone to evolve. So you can use the Mega, you don't have to use the Mega, but you have to have the Mega Crystal. You have to have the Mega Stone on the Pokemon. So that is a thing. You can't like Choice Scarf Alakazam. You have to have the Mega Stone, which would make more sense if you would just Mega into it. The Excel rules, this is for statistical, like for recording stats. Very important that I make it a big priority. As you can see, it's in bold. It's a lot of things are full caps, so very important for me. Making sure that every player knows that they are responsible for keeping track of their own scores, their differentials, their kill-death ratios, how many games they've won, like all that stuff. Each player has to be in charge of, because as someone who runs a draft league, as a commissioner myself, it is very challenging to sit there and, if you have not played a game, to go through and mark up all the stats and then change the stats for every single person. It's way too difficult for a commissioner to do that. So it makes more sense that the player who played the game is responsible for their own stat sheets for their own team. So you have 12 Pokemon, you bring 6 a week, you have to manage that, you have to record who got kills. It's not that hard. Like, it takes like maybe 5 minutes max if you're doing something else while doing that, but it is pretty easy to do. Next up is trades, something else that's important. Trades don't tend to happen too often in Draft League, but they can be very useful for making a good switch on your team. So I have some trade regulations here, just making sure people know that anything can be traded, but you still have to meet the draft requirements. So you must still have, in my league, it's a tier 1, a tier 2, 2 tier 3s, a tier 4, and a tier 5. and none of those can be the Mega. So the Mega cannot be any of those. So you have to have each of those, and you cannot go over your points total. So if you would happen to do that, I would have to deny your trade. And also, it does say that I get to tell you if it counts or not. So no, you can trade one member or Z Crystal. So that's a thing once per week. So every single week you could trade something, but you get it the next week. And Pokemon can be placed on a trade block if you want to tell people, hey, I'm thinking about trading this. If you guys want to trade it with me or for something, feel free. If you want to trade with another coach, feel free to do that too. You also can draft from free agency, and it's honestly a lot of people do the free agency way. It's a lot easier than trying to get someone else to trade with you. You can trade draft picks in my league as well, but you have to do it before you are on the clock. So if you are trading for the current draft pick that is on the clock at the moment, that cannot happen because it is during that turn. So, and it would mess up the 24-hour spot. So that is why that's something. And as I mentioned, if you trade a Pokemon in the first week, you cannot use it until week 2. So you cannot use it until the week time period is done. For some general rules, this really should maybe be at the top, but it's also important to get the draft league and the battle stuff out of the way so people can find those a lot easier. The general rules, you look at them once, you probably have them understood. The other ones, they can be manipulated by some people and try to be manipulated, so that's the thing. So I stress the need to be active in the community, updating your sheets and all that stuff. And it's very important for you to lay out when the weeks begin. As you can see here, and as I've done every season, I do my local time, which is Eastern Standard Time. So I start at midnight on Sundays, and it goes until Saturday at a minute till. So there is 1 minute of the week where there's no matches. Well, there's not really, but as soon as that clock turns midnight, the next week has begun, and you get your Pokemon in there. If the battle has not been done by 11:59, then it's probably out. I mean, I probably would make. It depends on the commission. I'll talk about this later, but it would depend for me if the battle was in progress. Like if someone starts battling at 11:45 and they're still going at midnight. First of all, that's a long battle. I'm sorry, but second, I would probably allow that since the battle was happening and began before the time period hit. But if you try to battle at 11:59 p.m. and you don't make it, sorry, out of luck. And I stress that all matches must be completed during this time frame. It's a whole week. You have 7 days. You have 7 days to get all this stuff done. So you should be able to do it. And if you do not do it, both teams get a loss. And I will, of course, always take into extraneous circumstances. A death in the family, something like that could happen. Emergency when you're supposed to be battling. Definitely take into consideration some of those things. But you have to have a limit on where you'll go. So if someone's just like, oh, I decided to go out of town and my opponent didn't know I was out of town, that's a loss. So yeah, you gotta look at that. I do include a makeup clause, so like if you need to make up a game because my grandma Bessie died, or Aunt Lou is in the hospital and I need to go visit, like, you know, anything like that, we can make up games. I tend not to like to do that, but I will be able to do that for that situation. But you also must notify. I stress that you must notify me. As the commissioner, it's very important that I know everything that's going on with the league. So if you are messing up with my schedule, I need to know that you're messing my schedule up. And I need to know and work that out with me so that way we can see that. If you fail to meet these rules in battle, it can force you to forfeit that match. We've had that happen before. People setting up, I know I think it was season 2, I had an item clause in the game. You can do item clauses too. We don't run them in this league, but you can do item clauses where you limit like 2 Pokemon can bring a certain item every week. So Super Mew had 1 week in, I think, season 2 when we had that clause where he had 3 leftovers mons and he had to forfeit that match since he had broken the rules. So pay attention to the rules and follow the rules. They're laid out fine. As long as you lay out your rules and make sure they're understandable, you will have a good set of rules that if someone messes up, you can just say, hey, this is clearly written in the rules, it's a forfeit, you're out. You lose that match. So that's the thing. And then, of course, I talk about playoffs. For me, in my league, we decide playoffs as we go throughout the season. It's hard for me to say right at the beginning of the season, like right now, when we're recording, like before we've even had everybody sign up and apply. It's hard for me to say, all right, playoffs going to be the top 4 teams or the top 20 teams or the top 10 teams, because I don't even know how many people we're going to have yet. So usually I just say my council is going to figure it out by the last week of the season. So we will let you guys know throughout the season. Usually by the time week 1 rolls around and we have everybody, like by the time the draft is started, I've already begun to formulate how I would like the playoffs to run, and then the council and I decide about that. So that's the thing. And then we also talk about team rankings and how playoffs are decided. So if you get a 6-0 win, that counts. That gives you a little bit more of a credibility to get into the playoffs. If you were like tied with someone else, you also get head-to-head wins that go into there. Divisions is something we've added. If we're gonna do that this season, we'll still see about that. So we add divisions, differential bonuses, so plus or minus. We've actually had that happen last season where Super Mew and Ender Mewtwo had the same differential, but because had the same record, but Ender Mewtwo ended up getting the 3rd placement because he had less differential than Super Mew did. And then updating the cell sheets, I make it part of the playoff stuff. If you are not updating your Excel sheets, I will automatically think about you a little bit less and give you a minus tick on getting into the playoffs. And forfeits also are something else. If you forfeited a match, you've obviously shown lack of interest in the season, in the rules, and I don't know if we want you representing the league in the finals. So that's just the thing. So that is the rules one more time. So as I said, make sure your rules are laid out so people understand them. If people have any questions about it, if someone asks you about a question with the rules, you might want to look at that section of the rules just to make sure that it's clear. And if not, have your council members, make sure you have your council members read over it before you publish the rules, because you hate to have a spelling error or something that doesn't make sense in the rules to confuse people to run a league. You want to have it crystal clear and everyone understanding it. So that is the rules. Next, we're going to move into the draft tiers. Now, creating your tiers is a little bit tricky and a little bit difficult. So, as you guys know, my 5 tiers, we have 12 Pokemon. There's the point system. I like to lay this out in the draft information, just so you guys have like what it is. So, of course, the tiers are sitting there. How many points each tier is worth, megas, and I actually have yellow highlights for. I have yellow highlights for places that I've changed I've changed things. So I included this season that megas don't count as one of the requirements. So like if you take, give me a mega. Come on, think of a mega. If you take Mega Garchomp, it's tier 1. I think it's tier 1. That's what I'm gonna say. It's it. If you take a Mega Garchomp in tier 1, that does not count as your tier 1 requirement. You still need to take another tier 1 Pokemon to fill that requirement. So Mega Pokemon do not fit any of these tiers, and also Z-moves do not count for any point slots. So that is something to note there. And as I said here, if you have a Pokemon with Mega in both regular form, they're both taken off the draft board at the time. And I make sure I specify that all Pokemon that are not on the list, on this list, are banned. So if you pick something that's not on this list, I have the right to tell you, hey, that's an incorrect pick. It's invalid. Try again. So we have tier 1. A lot of the powerful things you see. Mostly this is OU tier. That's what I really grabbed from when I first made the tiers. So when I actually made my first set of tiers, I looked at OU. I looked at Shogun usage. So I did OU, RU, UU, NU, PU. I think those are my 5 tiers I used. OU, UU, RU, NU, and PU. Yes, those are the 5 tiers I picked from. And so basically that gives you a 5-tier system right there. But I also took into consideration base stat totals, speed tiers, attack and special attack, defensive need. I took into consideration of the stats as well, because the thing about Draft League is a Pokemon could be terrible in competitive, but it could be really good in Draft League. One of the prime examples of that from last season was my Hitmonchan is a tier 5 Mon, because it's not the best Pokemon out there, but it did put in the work and was one of the top killers of the season. So a lot of things have changed. As you can see, like Necrozma was one of the underwhelming things last season that was a tier 3 and got shot up to tier 1 because of its defensiveness. Also, movesets are something we take in consideration here. So a lot of things move around, as you can see. But a good basis is to go to Showdown, go to the tiers, OU for Tier 1, UU for Tier 2, RU for Tier 3, NU for Tier 4, and PU for Tier 5. And then take a look at some of the things that are going to be useful in other places, and move them up and down the list, depending on how good they are or whatnot. One other thing I throw in my tiers is I have what's called, you guys know there's Borderline and Showdown. So I have what I do is tier Borderline. So as you can see here in Tier 4, we have Pokemon that are in the Borderline because it's alphabetical order, but they are in the tierage. They're in this part of the tier because if they are used really well one season, I can pop them up a tier. That's another thing I take into use. After you run a couple seasons, you'll notice some things are pretty good and they wreck your team, and they probably deserve to be a higher tier. If that ever happens, feel free to move them up a tier. You have all the rights to move the Pokemon around the tiers wherever you want. And so, for me, having this, having the Borderline is a nice way to show, hey guys, these Pokemon that are really good, if you use them again, they might be out of the tier. So you see all those things. So Sableye popping into Tier 5 Borderline. Charizard's up there. I'm surprised. I don't think Charizard's ever going to get to Tier 4, but it could. It could. You can see it. But yeah, you'll notice Tier 5 is the biggest expansive, the biggest one. It covers a few pages. Also, I did change where we dropped Pokemon off. So Ditto and Magearna both got dropped from last season. But yeah, Tier 5 is going to have the most Pokemon. Sometimes Tier 5 Pokemon can flip up to Tier 4. And yes, they will be underwhelming in Tier 4, but it might be necessary to balance the tiers out more. Because Tier 5 is going to be your biggest tier because a lot of things don't do super duper well. As long as you have enough Pokemon for each person to be able to pull up the tiers. As long as everybody can do this, what you set up, 1 Tier 1, 1 Tier 2, 2 Tier 3s, a Tier 4, and a Tier 5. As long as people can do, if you have rules like that, as long as they can do that, your tiers are fine. I know some leagues do not use tier systems. They just say, they have tier systems, but they don't cost points or anything. There's no they don't have requirements. So you literally would have 12 slots and you have 360 points that you have to go through, so you can manage it however you want to manage it that way. But I tend to like to take half your points and make them a set thing. So everybody's gonna have a Tier 1, everyone's gonna have a Tier 2, everyone's gonna have 2 Tier 3s, everyone's gonna have a Tier 4 and a Tier 5. Most likely, so this just gives you a format of how you can use your other 180 points that you have in the 3 slots. You can do the exact same thing twice. So you could have 2 Tier 2s, 2 Tier 1s, 4 Tier 3s, 2 Tier 4s, and 2 Tier 5s, and that would be 360 points. You also do not have to use all your points, so that is something to note. If you want to pick up 5 Tier 5s, and only 1 or 2 Tier 1s, and 2 Tier 3s, and the rest Tier 4s, that's what you want to do, feel free to do that. But no, you can trade up. So if you have extra points in the during the season, and let's say you wanted to grab Celesteela because you needed a steel type on your team, you could be okay, you would take the points. So let's say you're trading in your Tier 5 Oricorio. Let's say you're taking in your Oricorio for a Celesteela. It would be 40 added points. So if you have 40 points in the bank, you could grab the Celesteela for the Oricorio. You just have to make sure your point totals does not go over 360, or I will ban that from happening. So that is tiers. If you need more help with tiers, feel free to let me know again on Discord and Twitter. I will help you out any way I possibly can. Next up, we have organizing the creation of the council. So for this, actually, we get to go to Discord, and I'm going to run back to the PDL Season 3 tier. So my Discord, so what I have is the Premier Draft League. I make my own separate Discord for everything like this. And what we have, I have my team. So you can see on the side here we have a commissioner, we have the coaches, and then the people in blue are my commissioners. So Damien and Tui were my commissioners last season, and so we have this chat. This is where you want to run everything. If anyone has any questions with rules or anything like that, any questions with rules, anything comes up that's sketchy or breaks rules, this is going to be your place to go to. You'd be like, hey guys, can we check this out? Let me know what you think. And I like to have more than just myself running the league, just because it covers my butt when someone's like, you're just doing this so you can win. No, I'm doing this because this is what the rules say and what the commission has decided, what the council has decided. So, and by the way, I'm probably the most fair out of anybody who you're gonna find running a league. So, like, if it looks like I'm helping myself, trust me, I'm trying not to. But if it's what the rules say, then I'm following the rules. But I will definitely follow the rules above getting myself a higher spot in the league. So just know that. But it's important to set up a council. Make sure you have people you trust. I chose Tui for mine because I know he was trustworthy with mine. I'd worked with him before. I knew he was reliable, so I could rely on him. Damien was part of it because I knew he was reliable. I knew he was willing to do this, and it also gave him a way to join the draft league besides actually playing in it, because he didn't want to play in it yet, and we're still working on him with that. But I know that these guys are reliable. They're going to be helpful, and they're also people I like to bounce ideas off of. So the people I trust, and that's what you want to have in your council. So make sure you have people you can trust, people who are going to be fair and not trying to win themselves. Next up is commissioning effectively. So very important that you want to commission effectively. You make hard choices as a commissioner. You do difficult things and make people mad, but hopefully that doesn't have to happen. If everything is set up right and people are good people, then you won't have that problem because they'll follow the rules and they won't do stupid things. So make sure you just enforce the rules. As you guys see, I have a rules chat. It has all the rules laid out. I even have them like written out in the league here. So they're all here. If you have if you mess up whatever, like let's say you decided to break the tier number. So you decide to draft something that's not. You decide to take a tier 1 even though you only have 40 points left. I'm going to refer you to Rule G that says you have to follow the tier usage and stuff. So that is one way to do it. Make sure you always have yourself backed up with the rules. It's a great way to prove your point. It gives you just something to have, so people can't be like, you just made that rule up. No, I look at this letter or this number in the rules and it tells you, hey, you can't do this. Or if someone's like, but I thought the weeks were Monday to Monday. You can be like, look at Rule U. It says leagues are 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday to 11:59 Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Like, it says that right there. You can always refer back to the rules, and always refer people to the rules if they have a question about something. Like, hey, can I use Omni boosting Z moves on my team? Say, hey, you can't do that. We have a rule about it. It's Rule K. Take a look at that in the rules. So you can do that. It's always a great place to have yourself backing up. Probably the hardest thing of this video that I have to cover is starting your own league, and this is massive. This is a massive thing. So that's not what I wanted. What's really hard about starting your own league is that everybody in your league is going to have to be someone you know. It's hard to get someone outside to come in. If you're a streamer, if you have a YouTube or Twitch channel or something like that, you're gonna want to be promoting. You want to have a poster that says, hey, we're doing this draft league this time. Feel free to come check it out in the Discord and let me know if you want to join. You have to be on top of the ball. You have to promote it. You absolutely 100% have to promote the league. Good to join communities that have people who like to do this. So maybe join another draft league and then say, hey, since we're on off season, you guys want to do another draft league that I'm gonna run. So find people in off season, plan your season in the right time. We had an issue with the second season where it was 5 weeks and we had 5 matches and it absolutely sucked because nobody was able to battle during the summer. So we made our league solely winter. So, and it's also nice to find people who make sure people have accessibility to do stuff. I originally was gonna do the draft league with wireless on 3DS and Sun and Moon. But not everyone was able to do that, and you also have to check about genning in Pokemon and things like that. and building teams and such. So it's a lot easier just to do it on Showdown, in my opinion. Everybody has a way to do that. So we just have done that. It's also good to find people that have interest in it before you start like posting it and just going ham with like promoting it. Like, talk to your friends and see if they're interested in it. Like, I was like, hey Tui, I think I'm gonna do a draft league, and hey Damien, I think I'm gonna do a draft league. You guys want to join? Damien's like, nah, I'm not gonna join, but I would love to support it. So Tui actually joined. So there you go. First person we had join the draft league. So we just plugged it in there. And what really helped me out is we had Fletchling Tube when I first did this. So the first draft league I had, I posted in Fletchling Tube, and we had people from Fletchling Tube join. And so that's where a lot of the people I met who do this draft league are from. So it's always really important to just stay on it, promo it to people, let people know that, hey, we got this going on. Feel free to jump in and do it with us. And it would be great to have you. And by the way, friends, if you want to join a draft league, I will probably post a link to the Discord to Season 4 down below in the description. Feel free to click on that and join in. If you want to just read the rules one more time, if you want to go over the tiers and things like that, just to see how it runs and things, feel free to just take a look at it. But be notified that I will ask you if you want to join the league. And if you tell me no, I will kick you. Because last season we had like 50 people in this Discord server that weren't playing. And, you know, it's nice just to have it with the coaches and not have to worry about like hiding details and things like that. And you just get to go with it. So it's just, my Discord server for the PDL Season 4 is just coaches only. So if you want to be a coach, if you're interested in even looking at what a draft league is, feel free to check out the link in the description down below. And I will see you guys over there. But thank you guys very much for watching this series. Thank you guys for supporting all the fun. I've really enjoyed doing Draft League in the past 3 years of content creation. So it's been a blast. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for being a part of the league and always supporting the PDL. We love to have you join if you would like to. If not, feel free just to check out the videos. Again, I most likely will be doing the same schedule as I did last season, where team builders will be on Sunday and matches will be on Monday. So that's something you can expect. I like to do that with the way the schedule works. So just keep that in mind as we're going on. And again, we begin this league we'll start in September. We'll close applications in September, start drafting probably October 1st, and then November 1st I expect to have the league running and going. So make sure you come out and check us out in the fall for those battles, those matches, and to see if your 3 times back-to-back-to-back champion can get a 4th one under his belt. You know, good guy. Gonna try to win again. But yeah, go support your Detroit Red Wingles, and I will see you guys next time for some more content from me. Hopefully to see you again in the fall for some draft league battling. But until then, thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Hit that like button down below if you did. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video from me or the draft league coming up in the fall. And I will see you guys next time. So until then, my name is Chaos and I am signing off. Stay safe. And as always, burn it up.